In the headlines to the CBC NewsNight, an agreement reached not to increase the price of eggs. Barbados and the Export-Import Bank of the United States signed a deal which will help the island with its development plans. The Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs working with international stakeholders in its effort to address gender-based violence.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke with the details. Barbados has received a much-needed boost in the sum of $500 million to invest and enhance some critical areas. This after Prime Minister Mia Motley signed a memorandum of understanding with the Export-Import Bank of the United States. Barbados now joins Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis as beneficiaries of a similar MOU. Rachel Agard was there and files this report.
Prime Minister Mia Motley says the injection of funds has been earmarked to enhance the island's cybersecurity, renewable energy, water and sanitation, as well as maritime domain awareness. And she says the MOU now allows the country to change course and benefit in similar fashion through deals with other Exim banks.
You would have heard me say earlier that next year is going to be full with a lot of private sector projects, particularly in the tourism sector. And therefore, for us not to be able to address the issue of greening through expanded renewable energy would be a dereliction of duty. For us not to expand and to strengthen our distribution capacity and augment our water resources would be a dereliction of duty. For us not to protect in a major way our digital environment through beefing up our capacity for cybersecurity would be a dereliction of duty. And of course, we are a large ocean state and not just a small island developing state, and hence the marine, the awareness within our maritime domain is utterly and absolutely critical.
President and Chair of the bank, Rita Jo Lewis, says the partnership is part of the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to revitalizing partnerships and collaborations with the Caribbean.
At XM and throughout our U.S. government, we see Barbados as a key country in the Caribbean where XM can help support impactful projects on the ground that impacts lives and builds economies, very much what the minister just spoke about. Whether it is supporting a local business, importing U.S. goods and services on a small scale, to large transformational infrastructure projects, XM, we believe, has the tools to support a wide variety of clients across Barbados.
Meanwhile, Minister in the Ministry of Finance Ryan Strawn says it's important as Barbados seeks to drive an aggressive growth agenda.
Certainly with our thrust to digitize not just government, but the private sector's capability in modernizing Barbados, that cybersecurity is a critical area that we want to ensure that we can get done properly and to
Officials say the MOU is a statement of general intent and sets no legal duties at this time, but rather is intended to allow both sides to be able to work together and for Barbados to have access to the line of credit. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Barbadians can breathe a sigh of relief. They will not be paying more for eggs this Christmas. This is coming from Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security, Indar Weir. He says following discussions with management of Chickmont Foods Limited, an agreement has been reached that the company will not be increasing the prices of imported eggs as previously announced.
It was announced that there would have been an increase in price of eggs this Christmas season due to the fact that the importer said that he had incurred an increase in the price of those eggs. We had a conversation about it today, and we have agreed that there will be no increase in the price of eggs, and that the prices will hold to what they're currently at, and Barbadians can have access to eggs for this Christmas without having to pay an increase in price.
Chickmont explains in a letter while 1 million imported eggs cost the company 80 cents per egg, the management had to make a decision to do a blended increase of 8 cents per egg on the present price from November 25th. Meanwhile, Minister Weir is saying the importation of such a large quantity of eggs is not unusual, but is essential to supplement the supply at Christmas time.
Generally what happens is that the eggs come in under agreements between the ministry and the BAS so that stakeholders can have access to the supply of eggs that they want to. In this instance, it is Chickmont, but the real mechanism is that they usually bring in the eggs through agreements between the stakeholders.
Come December 1st, commuters of the Barbados Transport Board and the Transport Augmentation Program, TAP, can expect a cashless experience. The Transport Board hopes to complete the phased transition by January 1st, 2025. Chief Operating Officer Linda Holder was a guest on Morning Barbados and explains the need for the move. Sean Farrell has that story.
The first group to experience the Transport Board's new cashless system will be commuters over 65 years of age. Chief Operations Officer Linda Holder explains as long as an individual's ID card is pinned, they will have no trouble accessing the service.
If you already have your trading ID card and it's been pinned, you board the bus and everyone will be seeing on those buses the new modules that are mounted on the side, or there's a tablet by the driver. You tap and you go. If your trading ID card has not been pinned or you haven't gotten that card as yet, when you get on board the bus, you do as you were doing before and you show that card to the driver and he will then tap for you until we get everyone into the system.
Ms. Holder says they will continue with the concessionary ridership category, which includes students and police officers, before the service is rolled out to the public by January 1st next year. She says a major part of the process is to offer a better service to the public.
Basically, what the system is going to do for the board is to help us be more efficient in that we'll be able to track our ridership better. We'll be able to pick up on our demographics for those areas that we're getting more persons boarding from, that right now we're working with manual intervention, which cannot be right sometimes. We'll work with all of our kinks, and January 1, we'll be able to open it then to the regular traveling public, which would be the persons who have to then put money on the card and then board and tap.
Ms. Holder has given the assurance that even if a student does not have a bus card, they will still be allowed to travel on the buses as long as they are in school uniform. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
Government is planning to undertake a study to show the prevalence of gender-based violence in Barbados. This announcement is coming from Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Jehu Wilshire. He says the ministry is currently in discussion with international stakeholders to help facilitate the study. That research is intended to provide government with information on the true state of gender-based violence on the island. Mr. Wilshire was addressing the Bureau of Gender Affairs press conference to mark the start of the 16 days of activism.
Reports of the Criminal Justice Research Unit in the Office of the Attorney General indicate that cases of gender-based violence are definitely underreported, and that police statistics do not comprehensively capture the extent of the problem, and data which is not, unfortunately, disaggregated. We therefore recognize that the redress of gender-based violence is urgent. It is an obstacle to gender equality and a threat to sustainable development. Not only is it dangerous to the health and lives of women and girls, it also adds to the burden of healthcare costs.
Meanwhile, head of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, Dr. Tanya Haynes, says women's organizations are also lamenting a 60% spike in calls to crisis hotlines.
While 1 in 3 women experience gender-based violence globally, in some Caribbean countries it is 1 in 2. Violence against women and girls is one of the most prevalent human rights violations in the world. More than a third of homicides of women are attributable to male partners. intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and child sexual abuse, and other forms of gender-based violence are daily occurrences in Barbados. The majority of this violence goes unreported and unaddressed.
That spike is actually 30%. Several activities will take place in the coming weeks to commemorate the 16 days of activism, including an arts and activism to be held at Golden Square on December 7th. Coming up, we'll tell you about the success of a local community program. But first, the Clarkson Foundation is working hard to strengthen support for its parenting programs and the initiatives for the disabled and elderly. This was revealed when it held its Chic and Charitable fundraiser over the weekend. Member of Parliament for St. James North, Edmund Hinkson, patron of the foundation, says many people are able to receive assistance through the event, which is now in year 6. He says good parenting is one of the main areas of focus.
Lack of quality parenting is, by some of our country people, is one of the major social challenges which face us today within our communities, and the negative aspect. And it really is part of our DNA, I believe, as good parents, to try to inculcate that to those who need. And Barbados, I believe a representative of Barbados is here, for instance. I joined Barbados 2 years ago, and I would really urge everyone here to consider being part of the solution in terms of increasing our ability and capacity as a nation for parent education and proper parenting.
And Board Chair Beverly Smith Hinkson says already plans for 2025 are in the works.
The senior citizens in our community, particularly those with disabilities, that we can help them maintain a standard of living, a dignified standard of living, and make sure that whether it's helping them repair their homes or providing facilities that they can access their homes properly. That's the type of work that we want to do for 2025, and you guys are helping us.
The Foundation's board thanked those who came out to the event, as it makes a huge difference in the lives of constituents. 6 shipwrights from Tent Bay were honored for their work last evening, 4 of them posthumously. It is all part of a plan by a group called the St. Joseph Central Management Committee to highlight the outstanding contributions of the St. Joseph residents. During a ceremony at the Berea Seventh-day Adventist Church, tributes were paid by family members to Joseph Barrow, Ashford Barrow, Julian Barrow, Charles Chubby Carter, Colvin Downs and Colin Bull Headley. Member of Parliament for St. Joseph and Attorney General Dale Marshall and shipwright Ashford Barrow unveiled a plaque which is located in the park at Hillcrest in Bathsheba, a stone's throw away from Tent Bay. Earlier during the ceremony, Attorney General Marshall promised the committee financial support.
I'm hearing about your committee for the first time today. As MP, I know that these things take a lot of effort, but I've always said, anytime people in my constituency come together and do things, that is one less thing that I have to carry on my shoulders. But there's a price to pay for that. It means I have to help finance what you're doing, and you can count on me for a few dollars. And, you know, if you do it, I'm very serious. I keep to my word, all right? Because by me putting a few dollars to help you, especially if it is going to involve keeping our history alive or working with the younger generation, then those are things that we all get to benefit from. So I make you a solemn pledge that I'm going to financially support your effort.
It is something that committee member Samuel Hackett is calling for as the group looks to expand its projects.
We're looking at the surfers. You know, you can remember that we had a young man from this district who lost his life saving some people, Bobby Goodman. We also be looking at doing a plaque for him. We'll be looking at taking some of the old pictures out of the pavilion at St. Elizabeth Primary School, St. Elizabeth Pavilion, and putting those pictures on the wall outside where that people will have access to seeing rightfully what Bathsheba was before and trying to get it come back now. So we're looking at like something we're called from generation to generation, from one seed to the other. And we got to work with it, but what we're going to need is corporate Barbados to help us.
A fallen tree in Dunlow Lane, the city, brought with it some unwelcome guests in the form of bees. According to Senior Agricultural Assistant in the Ministry of Agriculture, Bernard Thompson, when a hive gets overcrowded, half of the bees will leave and seek refuge elsewhere.
They naturally form a new queen, and she leaves the hive with almost half of the colony. Now, bees tend to look for areas that for them is comfortable, not for you, but for them is comfortable. So, hollows in trees, that's a good place for them to go because it's going to be protected, one, from predators, and two, they tend to be protected from water.
Mr. Thompson urges anyone who sees a hive of bees not to disturb them. And he says he will collaborate with the Barbados Light and Power Company to ensure the hive is removed. Barbados is set to benefit substantially from its participation in WorldSkills Lyon 2024. The country is being gifted several pieces of equipment that will help in its quest to diversify the economy. Sharika Griffith reports.
Team Barbados did not receive any medals or medallions for excellence at this year's WorldSkills International competition. But speaking to the competitors, it's easy to see the country's participation in the world's biggest skills competition has not been in vain.
To me, it was incredible because to me, it's not just a competition, it's a learning experience as well. You know, you have people from all over the world who do different things in car business, you know. Car painting, everybody has their own style, and learning a bunch of them from all over the world basically was really impressive, really fun. It was awesome.
It puts my name out there to other companies, whether it be locally or internationally. It also shows me the newer technologies that coming out before they come to Barbados. So I get a little sneak peek before the rest of the island.
The experience has also led to some key opportunities for personal growth for the competitors, who ranged in age from 18 to 21.
So that's one thing I've realized about me today, that people see things in me that I don't see for myself, but I really need to start acknowledging it and showcasing it.
On a broader scope, the local TVET system also stands to benefit, having secured a number of new partnerships.
One of the WorldSkills partners, through China, is going to be sending down some equipment for us to get into optoelectronics, electronics, and network cabling, some modern equipment, the equipment that was used at WorldSkills. They will be sending us, I think, 9 stations. And all we have to do is to pay the freight costs. So we have to look somewhere now to set up so that the institutions can access this training.
Executive Director of the TVET Council, Henderson Eastman, says it's timely amid efforts to diversify the economy.
We are looking to get back into the electronic semiconductor industry, so it ties in well with what is going on in the Western world.
But he believes new investment in technical education will be necessary.
The council, along with the institutions, are looking at implementing more higher level skills. However, higher level skills call for resources. It calls for increased levels of teacher training in the competent area. And we have to move that up. That's a cost, because if you have to take people out of institutions to train them, then you have to replace them to do the day-to-day while those train. You also have to use modern equipment. Get more modern equipment and higher level equipment. That is another cost.
Barbados was represented in 4 skill areas at WorldSkills Lyon: cooking, automobile technology, restaurant services, and car painting. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
And we head over to the Sports Center with Anne-Marie Burke. I think we have reason to be rallying around the Windies.
Actually, we do this time around, Wendy, as the West Indies are in prime position to take the first test against Bangladesh after good bowling display on day 4. Bangladesh declared on their overnight score of 269 for 9, giving the West Indies a lead of 181. The Windies were then bowled out for 152 in their second innings as Taskin Ahmed claimed 6 for 64. Chasing 334 for victory, Bangladesh ended the day on 109 for 7 as Kemal Roach has 3 for 20 and Jaden Seals 3 for 31. Now, play will resume tomorrow at 10 a.m. with live coverage on MCTV's ESPN Channel 308 and also on Radio 94.7 FM. Well, UW Blackbirds and Britons Hill will meet in the finals of the Prime Minister's Cup on Saturday at Kensington Oval for a chance to win the grand prize of $100,000. In last night's semi-finals at Friendship, Britons Hill comfortably defeated Kickstart Rush, while Blackbirds got the better of Ellerton. CBC's Anmar Goodrich Boyce reports.
The thrills, the spills, the goals, the saves. All the action from the latest games in the Prime Minister's Cup. Here now are your Flow game highlights. Stay connected at home and on the go with Flow.
It was a packed house at Friendship and the stakes could not be higher, with two teams guaranteed of a shot at $100,000 and the coveted Prime Minister's Cup trophy on Independence Night. Semi-final number 1 featured Britons Hill in red and Kickstart Rush. Midway through the first half, ball played forward and it's a chance for Ray Snag, who tucks it home. Britons Hill 1, Kickstart Rush 0. 5 minutes later, Britons Hill were pouring bodies forward again. Snag at the controls, slips it into Sharan Hoyt, and the rest is history. 2-0 the score, and that's how it ended. The Mighty Reds are heading to the finals. Semi-final number 2 was dubbed the match of the tournament on paper, and it definitely lived up to the expectations. UWI Blackbirds versus Ellerton in purple. Both teams extremely cautious up until 32 minutes on the clock when this happened. A moment of sheer magic and individual brilliance. Now Reece Stephen with a beauty to break the deadlock. UWI 1, Ellerton 0. To the second half we go. Ellerton looked unsettled and the Blackbirds pounced again. Romario Drates from long range, and how about that for a strike? UWI Blackbirds up 2-0 and cruising down Spring Garden at this stage, mounting to climb for Ellerton. 10 minutes from time, UWI on the attack, Drates with a few majestic touches, and it's into Calford Blaze, who's brought down in the box. Referee says, yup, that's a penalty. Friendship then braced for a pivotal kick of the football, and it was a sporting moment in time. Reece Stephen, such poise, and it creates noise. The Blackbirds sitting pretty in first class on a flight bound for Kensington Oval. Ellerton got a consolation late on from the spot thanks to Rashad Jules, but the writing was already on the wall. UWI Blackbirds 3, Ellerton 1. The finals of the Prime Minister's Cup are set. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Those were your Flow game highlights. A review of the latest action from the Prime Minister's Cup. Stay connected at home and on the go with Flow.
And here's where I take my pause. When I return, I have schools basketball. Back to you, Wendy.
Well, we'll look forward to those hoops. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report. In tonight's business report, additional technical support is coming for agriculture in Barbados. This is according to Managing Director of Pinnacle Feeds and Roberts Manufacturing, Rakesh Bernard. He was speaking at the launch of AgriFest 2025. One of the areas he says needs to be improved is veterinary services.
We've been looking and unsuccessfully, both James and myself, to try and bring in a veterinarian to support the Agricultural Society. And I think, you know, in 2025 is going to be a real focus for Pinnacle to see, you know, can we get a veterinarian on island, you know, full time to support the Agricultural Society.
Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, says indications are that AgriFest 2025, scheduled from February 21st to 23rd, has the ingredients to be bigger and better than in recent years.
Every year we had the thing is that we used to put our tickets in February. This year, we're seeing something new. As a matter of fact, I will tell you that from 1st of December or before, we are going to have our tickets out. Okay? Tickets will be out. So you could actually go online, okay, and purchase your AgriFest tickets. You don't have to wait. No. We're going to have those tickets out online that you can available to purchase.
A grand prize of a room renovation is up for grabs in the Barbados Public Workers Credit Union's Grinch Be Gone promotion. It is part of the company's annual Christmas loan program, which will also include several other prizes. Speaking at the launch, acting retail manager Michelle Ashby outlined what the grand prizes will consist of.
This grand prize is designed to help a lucky winner refresh their home and includes premium paints and services from Berger Paints, modern appliances, stylish furnishings, and expert interior design consultation from Kimberly Payne of Emerald Living, all courtesy of Standard Distribution.
Here's how the stocks traded locally and regionally today.
In Jamaica, Victon Energy Limited, with 7,542,896 units, was the volume leader, followed by Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited and Sterling Investments Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader, with 29,385 shares changing hands, for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $115,625.31, followed by Republic Financial Holdings Limited. And here in Barbados, CIBC Caribbean Bank Limited was the sole security, trading 84 shares at Barbados $2.05 each.
That's business. We'll take a break and be back with the weather. And we say good evening to Carrie Ann O'Neill to find out what the weather picture is going to be like.
Good evening to you, Wendy, and good evening, everyone. Well, today in Barbados, a trough system maintained cloudy skies at times, along with some scattered showers. Those winds are quite gusty, up to 33 knots, and afternoon thunderstorms prevailed across the Guianas. The maximum temperature today was 30 degrees Celsius, the minimum 26 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 27 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity, 78%. The winds, they're coming in from the east. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where those temperatures are ranging from 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows moisture is building over in St. Lucia, as well as Trinidad, and the winds, they are generally moderate across the region. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where a trough system maintained cloudy skies at times, along with some showers. We had up to 15 millimeters of rainfall in Bagatelle. Meanwhile, the winds quite gusty across the island, up to 33 knots. Those seas, however, they are above normal. Moderate in open water, with swells peaking at 2.5 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Later on tonight, we will see cloudy skies at times, along with some scattered showers. Further south, we have there strong daytime heating, maintaining some isolated thunderstorms across the Guianas. And over now in the Western Caribbean, there is a trough system there maintaining wet conditions across most of the islands. Well, that's our first look at the weather. After the break, we'll have the forecast. Welcome back. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 2 minutes after 6 and will set at 5:29. Now, the first high tide is expected at 24 minutes to 1 in the early morning, and the first low at 6:30 a.m. Those seas, moderate in open water, with swells peaking at 2.5 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. The winds coming in from the east, they're peaking at 35 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect cloudy skies at times, along with some scattered showers. And over the next 3 days, a mix of sunshine, clouds, and showers can be expected.
Time to welcome Anne-Marie Burke back to the sports studio.
And I promised some basketball news. Well, it went down to the wire, but Combermere upset host Barbados Community College by 2 points to book a semi-final spot in the secondary schools on the 19th basketball competition. CBC's Damien Best reports.
Barbados Community College in orange hosting Combermere. The boys from Waterford in rhythm. Gabriel Douth for 3. Sweet. Combermere looking good, moving the rock. The big man Nathan Griffith in an excellent position, handled to business, 2 of his game-high 16 points. But the BCC offense was just as effective, with most of their early points coming from the charity line. Amari Aline draws contact, but finishes to get the combo, bucket and the fall. A team-high 9 points. This one had all the ingredients of an exciting contest. Ethan Shepard denied on multiple occasions and fouled in the process, but Griffith lets him know there is more of that to come. The crowd fully engaged. BCC on a mini run to close out the half, locking the score at 30 points apiece. Aline from downtown Sugar. Let's go to the second then, switch of ends. Rashad Moore, left unattended, makes them pay with a couple. BCC had no remedy for Griffith in the paint, gathers the air ball, and on the second attempt, gets it to drop. However, it was the hosts up by 10 points with 1 quarter left. Dante Wharton showing his handles, elevates and cashes in. 50-40, the scoreline. Fourth quarter action now. Corey Bryan, 3-ball, lethal, had 10 points. Amazingly, BCC lost the plot and were stagnant to their detriment, only scoring 4 points in the period, 2 of them there. The Waterford boys seizing the opportunity. Torres Worrell, right place, excellent contribution of 14 points. Fast forward, Combermere up by 1 point, 55-54, with time taken away. The attempted 3 missed, and Griffith, with the chance, is fouled. That's big. Well, Griffith would miss the first free throw, but converts the second to make it 56-54. Final possession, BCC with a chance to tie or go for the win. Aline battling his way to the cup and misses the floater. Headed the other way, and eventually time would expire in this one. Combermere into the semi-finals in epic fashion, defeating BCC 56-54. Damien Best, CBC Sports.
Well, the cricketing fraternity today bade farewell to former cricket administrator of the Barbados Cricket League, Christopher McCollin. McCollin, affectionately known as Cover, was a member of the BCL for more than 5 decades and was a top fielder in his playing days. During the service at Mount Tabor Moravian, he was described as a true servant of the game who worked tirelessly for the BCL in a variety of areas, including the compilation or reporting of scores from the numerous divisions within the league. Sports Minister Charles Griffith, along with former and present players, as well as officials from the BCAL and BCA, that should be BCL and BCA, were some of those present at the service of life. McCollin was 82 years old at the time of his passing. Well, Wendy, that's it for sports, so back over to you.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. We'll be back after the break. That's news. Thanks for viewing, and do enjoy the rest of your evening.